Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by a person who seems to have an almost magnetic hold on your emotions, leaving you drained, manipulated, and unseen? These individuals often exhibit narcissistic traits, and dealing with them can be an incredibly exhausting and challenging experience. Yet, within this difficult dynamic lies a profound truth that offers both relief and clarity: letting go. But how do we relinquish control and allow something greater than ourselves to guide us when we're dealing with a narcissist? The answer, it turns out, lies in God's plan, a divine blueprint that not only frees us, but also offers the ultimate path to healing and peace. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the world of narcissism and explore how to navigate relationships with individuals who exhibit these traits. Whether it's a family member, a partner, a colleague, or even a friend, understanding how to manage your emotions and set healthy boundaries is crucial. We'll dive into why releasing the need to control or change a narcissist can lead to a healthier, more peaceful life. And yes, you heard that right. God's plan can provide all the wisdom and peace you need to escape the emotional chaos often brought on by narcissistic behavior. The process of letting go is often misunderstood. We may feel an overwhelming desire to change the narcissist, hoping that our efforts will lead to a healthier, more balanced relationship. However, trying to control or alter someone who is unwilling to change can only lead to frustration and more emotional turmoil. Instead, finding peace through surrender is the key. By releasing the need to change the narcissist, we allow ourselves to find clarity, wisdom, and emotional freedom. So, how does this relate to God's plan? The divine blueprint offers us the opportunity to see beyond the immediate frustrations and challenges of dealing with a narcissist. By trusting in God's guidance, we are reminded that our healing is not dependent on the behavior of others, but rather on our ability to trust, surrender, and allow divine wisdom to lead the way. This trust brings peace to our hearts and offers the emotional freedom we desperately need when dealing with difficult people. As we continue with today's discussion, it's important to remember that the process of healing is not about changing the narcissist, but about changing our approach to them. By surrendering control and seeking guidance from a higher source, we free ourselves from the emotional weight of their behavior. This shift in perspective can help us create healthier boundaries and foster a sense of peace and balance in our lives. Before we dive deeper into today's insights, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from learning how to navigate relationships with narcissistic individuals in a more empowering and healing way. Stay with us as we explore these important lessons and uncover how God's plan can provide the clarity and peace you need to reclaim your emotional well-being. Narcissism is a complex and often misunderstood personality trait, defined by an excessive preoccupation with oneself, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. For those who don't display these traits, it can be difficult to comprehend the behaviors of a narcissist. Narcissists can be charming and charismatic, drawing others in with their magnetic personalities, but beneath the surface lies a deep need for control, attention, and validation. This often leaves the people around them feeling unseen, undervalued, and emotionally drained. Now, imagine being in a relationship with someone who constantly demands your attention and affection, yet rarely gives anything back. You may feel like you're walking on eggshells, trying to avoid their wrath, or constantly seeking ways to gain their approval. The constant push and pull in such relationships can make you feel powerless, frustrated, and even hopeless. But it's important to understand that narcissists will continue to demand, manipulate, and exploit until you decide that enough is enough. And that's where letting go comes into play. When you begin to understand that you cannot change or fix a narcissist, you may feel helpless. You may feel like you've exhausted all your efforts to get through to them, yet nothing changes. But here's the thing: you were never meant to change them. The first step to freeing yourself from the toxic grip of a narcissist is recognizing that control over them was never in your hands to begin with. Once you accept this, you can begin to see things through a new lens. This is where God's plan comes in. Believing that there is a higher purpose for your life, one that transcends the toxic cycles of manipulation, can provide the peace and clarity needed to heal. We often struggle with narcissists because we think we are responsible for fixing the situation. But God's plan teaches us that our responsibility is to take care of ourselves and trust that He is in control of every situation. In letting go of the need to fix or change someone else, you open yourself to the healing power of faith. It's easy to feel like we're abandoned when we're caught in the destructive cycle of a narcissistic relationship. The narcissist will often gaslight you, twist the truth, and leave you questioning your own worth. But when you release that person to God's plan, you acknowledge that you no longer have to carry the weight of their actions or the responsibility of their behavior. God's wisdom offers a way to handle these situations with grace, dignity, and self-respect. As we learn to let go of the need to control, we also learn to trust that God will lead us through these difficult relationships. It might not always be easy to see the bigger picture, especially when you're facing emotional turmoil, but the Bible assures us that God works everything for good for those who trust in Him. When we let go of the burden of trying to change the narcissist or fix their behavior, we're actually allowing God to do His work in our lives, healing us, guiding us, and bringing us peace. Moreover, letting go doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties with a narcissist completely. It might mean setting healthy boundaries that protect your emotional well-being, while still maintaining some level of connection, if necessary. It's about finding a balance between loving others and loving yourself, recognizing that the narcissist's behavior is not your fault, and that their actions do not define your worth. Another powerful aspect of letting go is the opportunity it provides for personal growth. As you relinquish control over the narcissist's behavior, you're making space for your own spiritual and emotional growth. You can focus on building your own strength, deepening your relationship with God, and finding peace within yourself. The narcissist's actions are no longer able to control you or your happiness when you place your trust in God's plan. The Bible tells us that we are to love our neighbors as ourselves, but this does not mean we should allow anyone, including a narcissist, to mistreat us. It means that we are to show compassion, kindness, and forgiveness while also ensuring we honor our own worth. Letting go of the narcissist's grip doesn't mean you stop caring for them. It means you acknowledge that you deserve peace, and that it's okay to protect your emotional and mental health. When you embrace the power of letting go, you release the need to control the outcome, and accept that God has a purpose for you that is far greater than the destructive relationships you may find yourself in. Sometimes, God's plan might involve teaching you lessons about boundaries, self-worth, and unconditional love. Other times, it may lead you to a place of healing and renewal, where you no longer allow anyone, not even a narcissist, to have power over your emotional state. In conclusion, dealing with narcissists can be one of the most draining and emotionally taxing experiences anyone can go through. But by embracing the power of letting go and trusting in God's plan, we free ourselves from the toxic grip of narcissism and create space for healing and peace. We are not responsible for changing others, especially when they are not open to change. But we are responsible for taking care of ourselves, setting healthy boundaries, and trusting that God will lead us through the difficulties we face. Thank you for sticking with us until the end of this discussion. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with anyone who could use this message of hope and healing. Remember, when you let go and trust in God's plan, you empower yourself to live a life of peace, joy, and freedom. Take care, and may God's grace be with you always.